All right, hot take. Here's not so hot. Should you hire a local real estate agent when selling your home? I got an interesting phone call a couple weeks back that I wanted to share with you because I think a lot of sellers consider this when they go to list their home or consider who they're hiring. I had a great phone call with somebody looking to sell in the South Metro, about a 15-20 minute phone call. And at the very end of the call, he goes, "Where are you from?" And I said, "You mean like where do I live or where do I office out of?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, I'm in the Blaine area." And there's like this awkward pause. And then he goes, "You know what, Alex? I think I'm gonna just cut you loose." I said, "What? What? What is that? What do you mean? What do you mean cut me loose?" And he said, "I really want to work with a local agent." And I said, "Huh, okay. Before you cut me loose, can you hear me out?" And he said, "Sure." I said, I would argue that where I live has nothing to do with my strong ability to market your property, communicate effectively, and negotiate." And then another awkward pause. He said, "That's a really good point." So anyways, I kept the meeting, went and had a great meeting with them. I share that because I think a lot of sellers consider that when going to, interview agents to sell their homes. I should work with somebody local. And, don't get me wrong, there are reasons to hire a local agent. I think the biggest reason for hiring a local agent would be their network. Who do they know? How many buyers do they have? So on and so forth. But at the end of the day, if your goal is to net the most amount of money, which for most sellers it is, it's to go, list your home on the MLS. And so, at that point, your agent's internal network doesn't really matter. But I just had to share that. So how I would look at it, when you're going to hire an agent is, am I hiring them based on the fact that they live a few blocks away from me and maybe have, 2 or 3 sales under their belt? Or am I hiring them based off of their merit, their history, their stats, their marketability, their negotiation tactics, their systems, so many things, right, that you should consider. Where they live, I certainly wouldn't advise to be your deciding factor. And so I had to share that because, again, I just found it very interesting. And I think that a lot of people consider that when, picking through agents to hire. Hold on, lost my train of thought. A lot of people consider that when, choosing an agent to sell their home. So I'm always here to answer any questions you may have. Never hesitate to reach out. I hope you're having a wonderful week. Cheers.